Hmm, not really. I'm not really a passion fruit person. Hmm. Do you like passion fruit drinks? Actually, I've never drinking. I've never had any drinks with passion fruit in it. Water plus passion fruit. No, I've never had any drinks with water and passion fruit. My main drinks that I really enjoy are grapefruit juice, cranberry juice, water, and coconut water. Yes. Mhm. Yes, America does have a great deal of good produce, a wide selection. Anyway, what's good, Rick? Just posted a short the other day. I don't know if you went and checked it out. Go check my new short out. I just dropped a new video. It's called Gen X, Rest in Peace. I mean, Gen Z, Rest in Peace. Gen X, don't play that. How are y'all doing out there? And why have you had enough of Thailand? Tell me what you discovered that I've been saying all along. Because I've been saying that all along. Just people didn't listen to me. Everyone's been going off of all these new YouTube creators saying, oh, Thailand's great. Oh, the food is so great here. Oh, I have an apartment. It's only $250. You're living in a shoebox. You're living in a shoebox. $250. You're living in a shoebox. Oh, my rent is, $250. Oh, I only pay like $1 or $3 for water, and my electricity bill is only $24. You're living in a shoebox. Because when I lived in Thailand, listen, I paid anywhere between $60 to $90 for electricity. Rick, after learning to speak the local language, I came to that conclusion because there was a 7-Eleven every morning, and I'd go to the 7-Elevens during my walk and I'd speak to them in Thai. I'd actually try to have conversations with these people, and they never really wanted to make an effort to try to have a conversation with me. It was always just how much, how much, how much, how much, hurry up and buy. Okay, goodbye. And that's it. It was like they were irritated that I was actually just trying to make a conversation with them. And it was just like, yo, just give me your money and that's it. Goodbye. I'm glad you finally see it because I just did a reaction video which I'll be publishing later today. How there's a sex tourist is talking about, oh, I want to open a business in Bangkok. oh, I want to, go and Pattaya is the greatest, and I'm like, that's Sin City. So obviously he's just there to, spend money on the women and have a good time, but he doesn't know anything else about, Thailand except Pattaya. He's, he can't talk about Bangkok. He can't talk about Phuket and other locations like Krabi or Koh Samui. He can't talk about, the north of Thailand like Isan, Korat. He can't talk about any other locations in what's the name other than Pattaya. Well, Rick, I'm going to say this before you go to Cambodia, go visit Cambodia because I've been to Cambodia. I visited one time with Philly Dom, as you can see on our video. Listen, there's a lot of stuff that I discovered in Cambodia that I didn't know was there. But, I want to say that, mm, you got to see for yourself. You just have to see for yourself. I don't want to taint your decision based off of, what I saw. Because I saw a lot of things. I saw a lot of things. I will say that, uh, I've only been to, I've only traveled to 27 different countries. That's about it. That's, yeah, 27. There are people who've been to way more than I have. Um, if I had to show you all my passports, you'd be like, I don't really post a lot of stuff. Um, People in South America are sincerely more genuine. That's what I have seen. It's like they really, really are genuine and they don't need like money to like help you. I'm not saying they don't want it, but it's like when they want to help you, they'll just help you and they're not looking for money. Mm, okay, Rick, from my experience, I didn't have a problem in the Philippines, but I'm not saying it didn't have problems. It had a lot of problems. First of all, infrastructure. Infrastructure over there was, like not the best, but I'll just simply say where I was living at, it was tolerable. For example, I lived in Cebu, city Cebu, and basically I lived across the street from the mall, Ayala Business Center Park. So I could come out my condo, walk across the street, and the mall was right there. So if you do some research, Ayala Business Center Park, I'll spell that out for you. That's where I was in Cebu City, Cebu. And if you had to live in like an apartment over in that area, uh, you're basically across the street from the mall. There's another condo that's like attached to the mall. So you can basically, there's an elevator that comes right down into the grocery store. And on another floor, it comes out right basically where you would, come out and it's like right there. You're inside the mall. Bro, stay strong. No, no doubt. No doubt. What's going on, Todd Seller? How you been doing? Hmm. I'm going to say this about the locals. They're just as two-faced as basically the local ties, and they definitely don't respect space. Okay, they definitely don't respect space. So let's say, for example, you're in a grocery store, and they'll be like right up on you like that. They don't have like a boundary thing where in America, if you're in a grocery store, I'm gonna give you anywhere between like 4 feet to maybe 5 feet in front of me. That's it. That was one of the things I like, I would take a cart and put it in front of me just to give us some distance because there they don't recognize distance that much. That was one of my pet peeves, because people cough, people sneeze. You don't want someone sneezing, coughing right on your back, and that's something that they really, really have a problem with is recognizing how Americans live. We give each other distance, and that's one of the things in the Philippines you probably won't find. You will find people who are right up in your face, and you'll be like, "Yo, back up, man. Take it easy." Other than that, yeah, you still have the same, problem. They were warmer. Filipinos are warmer. Yes, I would definitely say, you could probably get some sincere vibes from the Philippines. People are warm. They see you. And it just depends also on your age. If you're like a young Black American, you go there. Let's say, for example, you like to play basketball. The locals will definitely enjoy seeing you play ball on the court. Definitely. So that plays to your advantage. Um, Cold approaching women is not going to be easy, so I definitely don't recommend it. I recommend that you find a friend and maybe have that friend introduce you to a Filipina. I'm not saying it can't happen. It's just that, one thing I learned about in Thailand was because I was trying to learn Thai and practice Thai. I would walk up to women, and I'm not talking about like no women in like I never, soy cowboys or soy sixes. I would walk up to women in the grocery store, in a bookstore, in a mall, and I just try to be social. Yeah, so getting into social circles is very, very important because if not, women kind of like feel like, why are you talking to me? Even if you're just trying to like make small conversations, they're not accustomed to that. In America, they're accustomed to that. In my generation, they were accustomed to that. What's up, Secrets? Good to see you again. Oh, sorry, can't do that. That's not my, that's not my doing. Smoke alarm is, for my safety. Fix that smoke alarm. Yeah, it most likely needs a battery. I didn't know it was that loud though. But yeah, social circles is important because it was just fortunate, Rick, that I lived across the street from the mall, and where I was at, a lot of Filipinos went there for lunch. But it just so happens I happened to find one who had a husband while I was going to get, some fried chicken for dinner. But yeah, cold approaching, Filipinas is like it could go your way, it may not. It's just depending on time, place. Yeah, really depends on the time and the place. Dating websites, avoid them. You have a lot of, single mom traps on there trying to basically get, loud and proud. It's coming across loud and proud. Okay. Other than that, how you been, Secrets? Yeah, like I said, I'll say something about the the smoke alarm. Other than that, what you been up to? How you doing? And again, how was your weekend? Yeah, I've just been back reading through emails, getting myself ready to, start doing work again, legal work here, a lot of clients to basically do a lot of lawsuits. So that's why I'm trying to do as much as I can early in the morning. It's 6 minutes to 9. In a little while, I got to go start doing reading through emails, looking through clients' situations, and doing a lot of lawsuits. Hmm? What was that? Uh, Aaron, there was something that I was doing while I was in Cebu. I think it was sometime maybe on Sunday or maybe on Monday, I would go and I would make sandwiches because there's like a little like poverty area in Cebu. I'd make sandwiches. I'd go to the store, buy bread, like some meat and some cheese, buy like, a little couple of bags of chips and cookies. And I'd go down to like a homeless little street and I just hand out this stuff. And I tried to do that as like, so people would see me in the community. And you're going to try to do a lot of things to help people because you're walking past a lot of poverty. And just some people see your good deeds, some people don't. um, Most likely you may have to join a church, a local church, Rick, and you may be introduced to people in the local church. That's another way to be able to meet some decent people, young people. I don't know how old you are, but going to a church and meeting some locals like that. That's what I would recommend. All right, here, yeah, just started the day. The bullshit came working, just finished Philly dumb. Yeah. Oh, so the live stream just finished. Okay. He's in Malaysia. I think he was chilling with Austin Holloman the other day. Okay. Yeah. In certain areas in Cebu where I was living at, I do a lot of walking. So I just so happened like where I want to say where you would go to it's like a place where you would like renew your immigrant or your visa stamp. There's like a street down the block from this mall. And I went there, a few times and I saw like in the taxi cab and one time walking a lot of homeless people on this specific street. So I went and just bought a bunch of bottles of water, some bread, some cheese, some meat, some chips and cookies. And I just walked around, on that street. And I just, on certain days and I just handed it out. So, people would just sort of see like, okay, this dude, this American, he does care, and they would see me often. I wasn't looking for no recognition. It was just like maybe people would see and stop being so afraid, of like Americans. I don't know if it's my height. I don't know if it's my size. I'm not a big guy. I'm 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. And, I guess in the Philippines and in certain Asian countries, when I walk up to people, I'm like, hey, how you doing? People be like, hmm. I'm like, if you think I'm tall, my cousin's 7 feet tall. This nigga's a giant over me. I'm 6 feet, he's 7 feet. I got to do like this to him. So, if you're tall, Rick, if you're tall, make no mistake, you're going to get that. And you'll see it. You will see it if you try to cold approach people. They'll be friendly, but it's almost similar to like Thai sort of fake smile. Smile. I'm not saying, you'll get that all the time, but I definitely think being introduced to, Filipinas is the best way to go, because how I found my Filipina was, I think, just by a fluke, always going to the mall in the nighttime, buying some chicken, making something with the chicken, and we just happened to bump into each other. 6'5", huh? I could just imagine experiencing that in Thailand. Tried the cold approach. Listen, you know, I can relate to that, because who wants to sit and constantly be talking to women on dating apps? You don't know who you're talking to. You see a photograph. That photograph could be 5, 6 years old. She can look like a totally different person by the time you reach this woman. So I would say, going to bookstores and going to the grocery store, trying to meet women like in Starbucks and stuff like that would be one of the best things. But I would see like how a lot of women in Thailand just would not really be interested. And I'm not even just talking about in like Bangkok, because there's like areas like Samut Prakan that's right outside of Bangkok. I'd ride my motorcycle sometimes to an area called Bang Seang, which is in between Bangkok and Pattaya. I've gone to Sriracha, these areas where it's like the province, it's like people, when you are in there, people are like staring at you like, who's this? Yo, what are you doing over here? And I used my Thai as best as I could. I only got about maybe 25, maybe 26%. I could speak to people, and they would like it, but they still were not open to the thought, or the possibility of dating a foreigner. That's one of the big things that a lot of YouTubers, they don't talk about. They don't realize a lot of these Thai people, they are like really not into like go being seen with a foreigner, especially a black foreigner. Now you go down to Pattaya, you may find, some older women, they don't care. Or you may find some women who's like, F that, I want to have a better life. I don't care what none of these people say. They may be open-minded, but a lot of these women in in these provinces who can't speak English or a lot of English, or even if they are single, they are still terrified in their mind of what their social circle or their community is going to think, being seen walking with someone of your color, of your size. It's just going to be frowned upon, until if she accepts you and she can get past how they looking at her, then maybe she could bring you around. But it's not as easy as it appears. Like I said, a lot of people think it is, but it isn't. And a lot of YouTubers are selling it as it is, but they're walking around, what I like to call tourist areas, places where you got a lot of prostitution, and they're thinking, yeah, I got a girl, and they'll, like a Power Ranger, morph her into, a girlfriend, while he's still paying her. And before you know it, she'll cosplay and pretend like she's, your girlfriend, give her enough money. But ultimately, she's just there for, the financial benefits. She's really not going to be what you would like her to be, unless you continue to pay her, and she'll continue to cosplay. Can that turn into something? Maybe, but it's not really easy. I wouldn't feel comfortable knowing I'm constantly paying a woman to pretend that she likes me, or as long as I'm paying a woman, she is expressing or is displaying feelings of like, uh, that she's, enamored by my presence or my personality, someone just showing that there's a genuine concern for your welfare, in which I didn't see that, you know. Okay. I'm going to answer that question. And I think it's, again, growing up in New York, there's a high standard set for us. And this is why when I do go to certain countries, I'm not really looking to like be so quick to try to find just anyone to make friends with. I know my mentality, so I'm always looking for intellectual people when I first get to a place. And I already know I'm going to see a lot of locals. And when people show me that they're pretentious in other countries, listen very carefully. I've gone to a lot of countries, such as Thailand, in a place where it looks like, ooh, wow. And I'm meeting pretentious people that are insular, and they're giving off this I'm better than you vibe. Like this in Dominican Republic, a lot of women will give off this I'm better than you vibe, but they've never ever been nowhere. And I'm scratching my head all the time saying, like, yo, why are you acting like this? Why are you acting as if though like you're better than me when you may have less than me? And I'm not trying to say that they don't have a right to have pride or anything, but I don't look down upon people. So I'll give you an example, and I'm still answering your question. While I lived in the Dominican Republic, I had a motorcycle and a Jeep, and I'd be walking around the streets. Most people didn't even know that I had this stuff. They only knew that I had this when certain days I maybe get off my bike in certain areas and like I take off my helmet, and those people who saw me in these certain areas would know, okay, he has a bike. But a lot of times where I was initially living at in um, Puerto Plata, many people didn't know that I had a bike. Many of them. And I'm not talking a little scooter either. I'm talking about, I had a whip ass, kick ass, in your face. Bring it to the table. Show me what you're working with. MV Agusta F4. This was an Italian super bike. And again, I tried to be humble with a lot of people. So I'm always looking at myself, which may be to my detriment. You know, I compare myself and then I look at other people who may have similar characteristics, and I try to make friends with those people because if not, I may, try to have conversations with a lot of locals, and I see that, okay, they're not interested. It's like, all right, I know it's different, accept, their differences, try to move around it, try to find someone, that you may have some similarities with in common. Because if you're going to be living in a country for at least as long as I did, you're going to start to compare things. You're going to start to see like, okay, that's different. Okay, that's different. And if you keep seeing a lot of negative things compounding, you're going to start to talk about them. I'll give you a perfect two examples that I had while in Thailand. Um, in Bangkok, I'd be sitting in a taxi cab, minding my own business. Why would a traffic police officer pull the taxi over and ask me for can you see your passport? I'm not driving a car. Why are you asking me for my passport for? This is a traffic police officer, not immigration. So when I'm looking at other countries and I'm saying, well, why are you doing this? You're not immigration. That's not your job as a traffic police officer to pull me over. I'm not driving. It's little things like this that make you go, I thought this was a developed country. I thought, you see, the perception, I'm comparing things that I've seen, like on YouTube. Then, when I'm there and I'm looking and I'm saying, I thought this was a developing country. So why am I feel like I'm being treated indifferent? I'll give you another example. Let's say, for example, you went to, you came to New York. You got off the plane. You went to a store. No one's going to charge you a different price. Not in New York. No one's going to say, okay, I'm going to charge you a different price for this and that. Why do they have to do this in Thailand? Simply because you're a foreigner. Shoot, there's plenty of foreigners here in New York. America's system, no, yes. The system here in America doesn't do that. It's only specific areas only say, you know what? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna overcharge you for this. I'm gonna overcharge you for that. Why do they have to do that? Yeah, I agree. That's the fun part, evaluating, making a distinguish between, okay, individuals and a whole collective. And, you'll see like a lot of videos that I'm going to make or produce, I'm always showing my perspective, but I'm also showing you a perspective from someone. For example, in one of my videos, I have a friend, he's Thai, but he doesn't look Thai. He's Thai, but he does not look Thai. And he has a completely different experience from local Thai people because he doesn't look Thai. And the only reason when they go and say, oh, I'm going to charge him extra money, he's Thai. When he speaks to them in Thai, it's like, oh, shoot, wow. So I do a lot of, videos, and I do a lot of reaction videos with individuals like this because it gives you a different perspective. If he's Thai, but he's treated indifferently because he doesn't look Thai, or he's treated indifferently because he complains about his country. And expats in Thailand sit there and say, well, if you don't like it, leave. Leave? He is home. How dare an expat tell him, if you don't like it, leave? So basically, some expats are saying, well, you shouldn't do comparisons. You shouldn't complain. But he's Thai. He was born there. He was born in Bangkok. So why doesn't he have the right to voice his opinion? Good morning, Deborah. I'm checking in, listening to your content. Thank you very much, Deborah. If you like, please give me a like. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Also, I just posted a new video short a little earlier this morning. So please go check that out. If you like it, share it with other people. But definitely go check that new video out, Deborah. And how was your weekend, Deb? Did you do anything specific? Yeah, see. He has a Thai wife, and Thais would refer to his son as a foreigner. Rick, that's the insular mentality of a lot of Thai people. Even if you have a child by a woman and you try to walk and talk like them, you're still an outsider. And it's like eventually you come to the point where you're like, I'm doing so much to go along, to get along, and to fit in. It's like, why won't they accept me? It's because you're not Thai. You'll never be accepted. And the same thing, in the Philippines and the Dominican Republic. This is why I stopped trying to make friends with locals. All I said to myself was, you know what? Let me stop trying to make friends with the locals. Let me stay to my lane. And my stress levels went from here to here the moment I said, I'm going to stop trying to make friends with the locals. And all I'm saying, it appears that you take it too seriously. I'm not disagreeing with you. My life has not been like, growing up, a life that I always had like, fun. My life a lot of times was like Michael Jackson, a little kid that had to grow up very quickly. Even though I'm not saying my parents they didn't do things which they did, and they made sure I had a very, very good life. It's just that they taught me at a very young age that grow up, because you need to have a lot of experience in order to basically be prepared for the world. So let's say, for example, at a young age, not saying they did this, they said, okay, let me hold your hand. I want you to see how hot it is near that fire on the stove. Okay, now you know not to play with fire. You understand? They were teaching me valuable lessons at a young age. Give you another example. Um, I needed $100. My allowance was $25 growing up. My allowance was basically on, I had to take out the trash. I had to make sure all the trash in the house was empty. I had to make sure kept my room clean, my bed made. I had to wash my own clothes. That's right. My mother paid me to wash my own clothes. It was an allowance, but it taught me a certain level of discipline. And one time I needed $100. I wanted to buy something. So when I came to my mom and said, I need $100, she asked me for what? And she said, okay, here's 25. You need some more. If you want the other part, go ask your father. So I went to my father and I said, hey, Dad, I need $100. Did you ask your mother? I'd say, yeah. So he gave me $25. I listened very carefully, Rick. Now I have $75. I need 100. Did my parents help me? Did my parents help me? Yes, they did. It's not their job to give me everything that I want in life, but they gave me help and assistance. Now it's up to me. It's up to me to figure out, I got $75. I need 100. How do I get $25 more to get what I want? And a lot of people didn't have these values growing up. So I understand. I agree with you. I take a lot of things seriously because as a child, I was being taught things that I had to grow up a little faster. So I had experiences. I know how to dealt with, like confrontation at a young age. Not to mention, I grew up, I didn't have brothers. So, I lived in an area where I had to fight sometimes. I had to fight. I had to fight a bunch of kids sometimes. What am I supposed to do? Say, Mom, Dad, I couldn't do that. So sometimes fighting bullies had to prepare me for what if, what if. And I take life probably a little more serious than others, simply because I'm always thinking like a New Yorker. I'm always thinking about the future, how to prepare for situations. Some of my family, they were in the military, and yes, so I went to their their boot camp, and they prepared me for a lot of things, as soldiers can. Yeah, yeah. New York state of mind doesn't work in Asia. In Asia and a lot of countries, it's, take it easy. Oh, I'm sorry, I effed up. I'm so sorry. Well, whatever you want me to do. I grew up where saying sorry, it matters, but it only matters if you don't make the same mistake twice. Saying sorry is nice, but it doesn't fix the problem that most people created. And living in Thailand and other Southeast Asian countries where people don't have a problem making a lot of mistakes at your expense and thinking they could just say sorry and think you're supposed to say, no problem, man. Make another mistake. I'll pay for it. Yeah, not in my world. I retired at a young age and my mentality is really, really different from like a lot of people in Southeast Asia. I don't think that's why I had to leave. Instead of complaining, let me just take myself away from, a lot of people. And a lot of people don't know this of my nationality. I keep that hidden. So I have a different frame of mind. And that business frame of mind that I have from one side of my family, it doesn't mix very well when it comes to, being motivated, diligent, consistent, and reliable. In Southeast Asia, those characteristics aren't very strong and promoted characteristics. Here in America, people trust me because I'm diligent, I'm consistent, and reliable. True relationships take time and patience no matter where you are. I have a lot of patience when I go to a new country. What happens is, after you are trying to accept and adjust to the environment, you see that little by little, your patience, people start to ebb at your patience. People will start to, do certain things that will irritate you. And you're trying to say, this is the environment that you're in. I can't run away from it. If you run away from it, then you might as well stay in your condo, like I was doing for the last 2 or 3 months that I stayed in Thailand. But I said I need to do this because I made the conscious decision. I need to leave, and I definitely want my stress levels to come down, because dealing with the local people, trying to be what they call Grand Jai or Jai D, you're trying to be, hi, nice to see you, smile. And everyone's like, you're like, why are you doing that for? You see this, right? I've seen this. Yeah, I'm trying to be good hearted, but people are still like, you can see where they're like, and that started to irritate me. And I'm saying, I'm still trying to be good to these people, and they're still being fearful. No matter what I do, it would still be like, uh, but it would never be sincere, or as if though like the fear would never leave them, or this mistrust would never ever leave them, no matter what I did. And eventually you start to acknowledge within yourself all the efforts you're making, and oh, why are these individuals like still treating me like I'm a foreigner? I'm speaking their language, I'm doing like this, I'm not just saying just Sawadi Cup. I don't say that. In the mornings when I walk by people, I say Arun Sawat. That's a very respectful Thai greeting for good morning. Okay. Or I'd say, good afternoon in Thai, and I bow. Um, but there are so many things that, for example, I like to listen to my headphones, and I like to be singing when I'm walking. People would look at me and stare. Or like if I wasn't singing, I'd just be bopping my head through, like Big C or something like that, looking for what I'm looking for. Uh, People would stare at you like, and they like, I'm just walking straight, bopping my head. People would walk around like a big, wide, as if they're like some big elephant is walking through the room. And I'm not a fat dude. I could stand up right now. You'd be like, yo, you're just tall. But they were still like frightened of me, as if though like Godzilla was coming through the room. So I do not disagree. You need to have patience for other nationalities. And I tried for 2 years to make good relationships, but I started to see it's easier to try to make relationships with foreigners. Real easy. It was the locals that I could not make sincere relationships with. Not saying that I couldn't build associations. Like two individuals that I met, I think I have a photograph of one. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. This gentleman right here, he's Thai. He has his own locksmith shop. He has a motorcycle, and I'd walk by his shop every day. And so we would talk sometimes. I don't know if you can see him, but we would talk. I was able to establish a friendship with him. I go by his shop, I would talk, and then I offered to pay him to help me make like a makeup case out of with a pokeball, and he agreed to accept money, but he agreed to also help me. So many other people, rejected my money and rejected basically trying to even assist me. I am contemplating that question. We secrets. Sometime I feel like I should stay here, but I also realize that they'll kill me here. And the reason why I said they'll kill me here is because of the things that I know. Um, the access that I had to certain knowledge, books while I was working, having Xerox copies of manuals. For example, uh, I do a lot of consulting work. I also help people do lawsuits. Um, and a lot of like things on people's credit. I've gotten like, things right. And it's very scary at times because, the stuff I know is very toxic material. But I've gotten a lot of my clients, debt waived, written off. I'm suing people and, I'm always questioning, like, I got to really be careful because somebody may tell somebody, and next thing I know, I got to knock at the door, and someone's saying, hey, yeah, you coming with us simply because I'm helping people. I've gotten a lot of people's debt wiped off. I'm talking about loans, school loans. I'm talking about like $50,000 in credit. So it's a little scary here. Some of the stuff that I know, I'm always worried. Any day they're going to come knocking at that door. Any day, somebody may come knocking at that door because, I'm helping people. I'm getting debt waived, a lot of debt quietly, simply because of what I know. So I do realize that here in America, I can get things. I have access to things that I don't have in other countries. This is why, and please don't laugh, y'all. When I travel to another country, I usually bring a suitcase full of food with me that'll last for 6 months. That's right. Yeah, I do. Why? Because I don't know what I'm gonna discover there. So I'd rather basically have a gun and not need it than to need a gun and not have it. Because while I was living in Bangkok, I could not find jelly. That's right, jelly to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I had to bring my jelly from America so I could have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Do they have something similar to jelly? They got preserves. I don't like preserves. I want jelly. Call me spoiled. Certain wine that I drink Stella Rose Black. They don't have that in other countries. So I bring this stuff. I bring Goya seasonings. I bring a lot of food, and like I'll go back to America and I'll won't bring no clothes. I'll just bring back 2 suitcases full of food that I can't get in other countries. And sometimes it's a headache, but it's a comfort thing that makes me feel like, okay, even though I may be irritated at times, I got certain comfort foods that make it worth, like, oh man, Eggo waffles with Miss Butterworth syrup. I had a good day. All right. Now we got, I guess, some type of comfort that lowered our stress, and allowed it to have a better day. Do you know where you were 2 years? That's a good while. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2 years is a long period of time, and the things that I learned while I was there, you know, most people, they'll learn, or maybe they won't learn because their life in Thailand, I'm not saying everyone, but their life in Thailand is showing people stuff from a skewered lens. Like people are, oh yeah, I'm driving around in the tourist areas, or they're walking around some streets and they're offering, oh yeah, I offer my travel services and my relocation services, and they're only showing you good parts of Thailand. Uh, they're not showing you like, okay, with a small body cam, let me show you what would happen if this person, like if I have a Thai friend, this person goes and asks for something in Thai, like some fruits or buy a drink, And then let me show you what happens if I do it. Not everybody does it, but no one's showing these differences because a lot of people aren't trying to really learn the language that well. They just go in there and just trying to sell you, yeah, sell you, the person living in another country, this view of this country that they are living in. Do you think a European country would be better since you find more? However, you still will face a lot of social challenges. I have considered Poland. One of my cousin who plays basketball, he's like, well, you need to be careful because I'm not saying that you won't be liked in Poland, but you have to be careful in places like Poland, like Czech Republic. There's a flip side to those coins of them liking you and disliking you. Now, in places like Sweden, there is a high interracial community there. There's a high interracial community in Germany. So I do know in certain countries there is a lot of integrated relationships in certain countries. I don't know all of them, but some of the countries that I have been told to go to simply for the fact that they're looking for expats. For example, they're looking for in a place called Georgia. They're saying the living in Georgia, yeah, which is next to Russia, is relatively low. It's easy to get residency there, but is it safe for a black dude all by himself? Now, if I had like two or three partners going out there and we're going to live out there in separate, condos and we're going to start a business, that's different. you know, that's different. Why? Because, okay, if something had to happen to me while I'm there, somebody who I know is going to come looking for me, not just I just disappear and that's it. You understand? I've looked at a lot of European countries that are actually interested in paying foreigners to come and live in their country. It's just like in Italy, there are countries in Italy that will pay certain people or families to live there. But when I've gone and I've done some research, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Somebody can easily give me an Italian necktie and no one would know it. You know, no one would know basically that I'm gone. Someone could rob me, kill me quietly, and no one would know. For example, I've seen some videos of some people going into nightclubs in certain European countries having a good time, but they had friends with them. Who's to say that they would have the same good time if they were by themselves? Who's to say? I don't know. And I went to Europe. I've been to Ukraine. I've been to the Czech Republic. I've been to Poland. I've been to Germany. So I've been to those countries. And I'm not saying that I didn't get a warm tourist welcome, but I wasn't going into clubs. I stayed in the streets. People saw me walking around in the streets. I wasn't walking around in the nighttime. I didn't act like I was a local because I knew I wasn't a local and something could happen to me. But if any places that I feel would be, I want to say just comparable to US, Germany, but you have to learn the language. Them people ain't playing. They have a good society, but you got to learn the language to live in Germany. I already know too many languages as it is. And having to sit there and suppress certain languages just to learn new ones, it gets tiring at a certain age in your life. Not saying that it's right to, go to somebody else's country and say, hey, speak English, speak English, speak English. No, that's not right. You know, but it gets tiring learning a bunch of different languages and you discover that some of the people that that the people you're trying to communicate with, they're not interested in communicating or making friends with you. Okay. Those mofos are just like their cousins in America, especially in the business world. Hmm. Well, I probably thrive very well in the business world in a lot of European countries. Um, it's just I've been I haven't worked for someone in so many years. I don't know if working for someone is the easiest thing. Now, if I'm working for myself, like independently as a contractor, that's different. I can set my own hours, work the way I want to. But having someone to actually tell me what to do at this age and after everything that I've established, that's not easy for me to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but uh, entering into the business world in Europe with everything that I know, and um, it probably wouldn't be too much of a challenge. The only challenge would probably be is accepting someone telling me what to do. Oh. They won't even allow you to get a legal work permit. Luckily, China will. Yeah, China will actually allow you to get a legal work permit. But again, it's Southeast Asia, where I'm not saying in a place like China, it's not developed. I'm not saying it isn't a first world country. It's just that places like China, they'll give me a business visa, which will allow me to work. Um, but unfortunately, like in a place like Europe, as you say, they want a legal work permit. Wow. Hmm. We're still young. We're still traveling, and we still have the will to figure it out. We haven't given up on life, completely. If that's so, we'd still be riding our motorcycle, gunning it. Global Paper, thank you very much. Please give me a like, and I appreciate basically your comments. I'm going to still continue traveling. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I want to live in Vietnam or open up a business in China. I'd love to open up another business or just make the attempt to open up a business, because what else am I going to do in life, if I'm not making an effort to be productive? A lot of people, are happy working, from paycheck to paycheck. I'm not one of those people. And so you still developing the Pokemon? I have a bunch of them that I made already, but I stopped, like trying to make any more simply because while I was in Thailand, I was actually trying to pay people to try to help me, and I couldn't pay people there to help me promote it. So I sold a 3D printer, and I just basically put my Pokemon makeup case on ice, and I haven't looked at it again. I'm not saying I couldn't maybe go to China with it and maybe find somebody to manufacture it there, but I just put them away, and I have a bunch of them. I think maybe I have about like 10. I just put them in storage. They're assembled. I could definitely go back to Thailand and go to my storage unit and get them out, but I have two with me. I could show somebody at least like what I did, so at least they can maybe see. But other than that, I don't look at it as a missed opportunity. I look at it as a missed opportunity for somebody else because they couldn't see the hard work that I put into, this Pokemon makeup case to even think that, now if I was giving it away to people, they'd be like, thank you. Oh, it's so cute. But they were not interested in like buying. Like Thai people are not going to support you as a foreigner in their country. They are not interested in supporting you, whether or not you're trying to promote something, and they're not trying to support you. If you're trying to help them, if you're asking them to help you be better, even offering them payment sometime, they'll be like, no, my die, I can't. If you and if you and operate 3D printer, you're very technical. I learned how to operate this 3D printer. It didn't come overnight. It took me like 2 months to figure out the software, and eventually, yeah, you know, I guess I have a technical side that I'm not aware of because I'm doing reaction videos. I'm sitting there looking at all these, instructions, and it's like, okay, do this, do this, do this. So I didn't know I had, a technical background. And I never grew up in a technical background. We didn't have cell phones growing up. We had to go and dial a phone like that. Hello. Put in a coin and talk on a payphone. You know, then they had beepers come around, and then we had small cell phones. To me, this is a small computer. We didn't have that when I was growing up. Okay. Again, I've been to Cebu. I didn't have a bad time there. I know it had its ups and downs, but I never complained about the place. I simply had some complaints about my relationship, but I never really complained about the place. So you see, some people want to jump on me and says, "Oh, everywhere you go, it's bad." No, I never ever complained about the Philippines while I was there. Never. I never really complained about it here. You know, yeah, I was told go to Shenzhen, China. I was also told to go to Guangzhou, China. So as I said, China is still a perspective. I would still have to get, information on how to open a business, how lucrative it would be to open a business there, how much technical support could I acquire if I had to open up a business there. Before I go to China, I need to know who, what, when, where, and how. So that means me visiting China first, getting a lot more data than I have. My data that I'm having, would just be confirming, okay, I got this information here. And when I go over there, it's like, okay, now I'm dotting that I and crossing that T. But I do know that there's opportunities in China to be able to be like a content creator and go over there and make a lot of money. Not just a content creator, but just like being a spokesperson for Chinese companies. That there's opportunities over there, and I'm still considering them. I'm still thinking about them. It's just it's a lot to sit there and go there, and we're just trying to do our due diligence before we go over there and waste a lot of money, and where it's like, okay, you know what, how about we don't waste the money, we just go, we visit, we see if we even like it, and if it's profitable and productive to open a business in China. That was what we would do during our first visit. Not just go and pick up and just move over there. So we would have to go to China, look at our prospects. How easy is it to get a work visa, which we're going to do while we're here in America? Speak to someone at the consulate, find out how much is it to get a business visa. Um, since I've been here in America, I have been trying to speak to Chinese lawyers to figure out how much, like just get some documentation so that I would be able to show the embassy, the consulate here in China, like, well, I'm doing research. I'm interested in getting, a business visa. I want to open up a business. So it just helped basically expedite the process a lot faster. and hired to build products and prototypes. Okay. Thank you very much, Rick. I will definitely consider that, but I do know that I know, my makeup case would probably do really good for like teenagers, especially, like kids. But I don't know. I invested a lot of time with paint and making this little device, and I couldn't even get people over in Thailand to even help me promote it. No, I've never met Danny. Flight Madness, 10 years and moved to Thailand last year. Okay. I don't know who he is, but I'm sure I could probably ask around and find out who Danny is. Hmm. I'll definitely take that in consideration. Hey, everybody, if you like, my content, if you like this conversation, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. If you like my content, I just posted a new video, a new short the other day. Tell me what you think about it. Yes, I just posted a short. It's called Gen Z. Rest in peace. Gen X, don't play that. Please go to my channel, look for the video, either like or comment. I appreciate it. Not asking for no cash apps. You know, I'm asking just for you to just hit a button. If you like it, you don't like it. If not, comment or just basically just hit, uh, the button and say you don't like it. He was an English teacher there and does remote teaching now. Okay. I have considered, teaching English because I've had actually two students. I taught a student, I had a Syrian student. She's now a teacher now in Syria. And I'm really proud of her that she not only got her degree, but she's now teaching English in a university in Syria. So if I can maybe do like remote teaching English, that's something that I would definitely consider doing in China, just to keep me busy. But I think it'd be better to like maybe network with certain teachers there so that I could understand their process of maybe even working remotely, to get clientele, because that in itself could be, another can of worms that we don't know if we want to open or keep closed. Time is it? Okay. It's almost 10 a.m. Uh, 13 minutes. I'm going to get off here. If anyone has any comments or complaints or questions, please answer them because I got to get to work in a little while. Um, please tell me, your opinion about the video I posted. I just posted a new short called Gen Z. Rest in peace. Gen X. Don't play that. Good morning, Herman. How are you doing today? It's nice to see you again, brother. Thank you for joining the live. Twelve minutes. 12 minutes. We will definitely be exiting the live. Maybe we'll get back on once we read some of these emails, start doing some work. I got two cases I need to read and have some feedback written down, to start working. I got a lot of clients that basically I got to file lawsuits for. So, okay. Okay. The Flight Madness. Okay, I got his handle on YouTube, so I'll definitely be checking that out. The Flight Madness. Okay, that's cool. That's a cool name. Please hit the like button again. you like this content, just hit that little button. I'm not asking for cash apps, brothers, sisters. All I'm asking for is, hit the like button, check out my videos. If you like those videos, please hit them, please share them. Tell me what you think. Even while we're here, just go find my short. It's called Gen Z. Rest in peace, Gen X. Don't play that. Go check out my video. It's only two few seconds long. Give me some feedback on my content. I can only make it. I can only make it better if I hear criticism. Maybe I can do things better. I don't know. Okay, I'll definitely check out his Instagram page, but I'll first start off with YouTube, and if he responds, then I'll say, hey, I'm gonna hit you up on Instagram. Okay, 10 minutes. We are exiting the live. We are exiting the live in 10 minutes. Does anyone have any other questions, comments? Anyone want to give me any feedback from the last video short that I made? Gen Z, rest in peace. Gen X, don't play that. I always open to criticism or comments. I'm still learning how to, even create videos and stuff. So, any type of comments, criticism, I'm open to it. I'll never say, I don't want to hear your comments or your thoughts. Okay. Well, 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Any comments, any complaints, any questions, any thoughts, last minute thoughts? 8 minutes, 10. 8 minutes. Hey, has anyone seen, I haven't seen my friend Sheila, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. I haven't seen Spanish Harlem in a while. Maybe she's asleep or at work when I'm doing my live streams, because when I was doing them in Thailand, it was, nighttime. And shout out to you, Spanish Harlem. I may come back here later tonight, just depending on how much work, how many things I have to read. It's really more mental work than it is physical work. That's a very, very taxing job. But I enjoy thinking. I enjoy solving problems. As my mother told me she told me at, I think, 10 years old, she said to me, I was doing something, and she smiled and she said, I know I don't have to worry about you. I can see you know how to turn death into a fighting chance. I looked up at her and I didn't understand what she meant. She said it to me again later on in life, and I understood exactly what she meant, because I remembered exactly the first time she said it, and I remember why she said it at that moment. And I understood. I know how to turn death into a fighting chance. I'm a good problem solver. I don't see a problem. I only see multiple solutions. Oh, I'm going back to Thailand to get my stuff. Oh, we ain't leaving our stuff there. Even if we have to extend the storage, what's the name, our storage time, we have until September. So we have some time to go back to Thailand and go get some more of our stuff. Or if we decide to move to Vietnam, just to check it out, to see if we like it. Or again, we, continue to extend the contract. and see if we like it in China. But we have time. I can afford to pay like it's nothing more than just what, uh, 9,000 baht, 10,000 baht for every 6 months. That's not too much. But I ain't leaving my stuff there. No, it's just far too many valuable things. My shoes, valuable shoes, are in my storage unit. So nah, we're gonna go back and get those. We got shoes that people in America has never even seen before. Okay, 5 minutes. 5 more minutes till we exit the live. 5 more minutes. Anybody got any questions, any comments, any criticism? I definitely would love to hear your critiques on my videos, how I can improve them. What do you think about them? As I said, the last video I posted is Gen X, excuse me, Gen Z. Gen Z, rest in peace. Gen X, don't play that. Just give me some critiques. It doesn't matter. Again, I'm open to improvement. I'm always open to doing things better. So I can't do that if basically um, no one comments. Now, if it's fine, cool. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Firm believer. But if I can do better, definitely gonna try. Definitely gonna make the effort. I'm not just gonna be some lazy guy who says, "Oh, it is what it is." I think you will give Thailand another chance once you decide most people won't be on your intelligent level. Listen, after seeing, you know, Philly Dom go to Malaysia and seeing just how Malaysia is, I've never been to Malaysia. I would definitely give Malaysia an opportunity before I go back to Thailand. And if I go back to Thailand, as I said, it would just be to go check my stuff. It'd just be a port to maybe go and visit China or go visit Vietnam or go, check out Malaysia and see, prospect it out. Who knows? But if I don't go, I won't know. So right now, that's not on my objective. My objective is maybe to go visit Peru. It's close by. Go visit Dominican Republic, maybe ride my bike, go to Brazil, check Brazil out. Right after the 4th of July, yeah, right after the 4th of July, I will probably go down to the Dominican Republic and then Peru. So it's going to be DR, ride my motorcycle or sell it, and then I'll head down to Peru. And Philly Dom is, in America then. Hopefully we can go down to Brazil. But that's the game plan for right now. That's the game plan. I'd actually love to visit Haiti. I hear some wonderful things about a place called Cape Haitian. And I've seen a few videos from my friend who's living in DR. He's Haitian. And wow, Cape Haitian looks beautiful. International Zoo in Peru. Okay. International Zoo. All right. I will definitely go and look up his YouTube channel. You know, it is right around the corner, July. Before you know it, it'll be here. So maybe I'll just start watching his channel, seeing if he's there, just asking some questions, and maybe I'll bump into him. Oh, he's a New Yorker from Harlem, huh? Well, I was born in Harlem. I was just raised in Queens. Okay, that's right. I can shout out Harlem World, Harlem World. My birth certificate says New York City, New York. That's right. My birth certificate says New York City, New York. Now, I wasn't born in Harlem, like Midtown ish, Harlem, Midtown ish. somewhere like in the 90s, close to 100 area, but surprise, you don't know him. He's a New Yorker from Harlem. Harlem World, Harlem World, Harlem World. Okay. Last minute. This is the last minute, 9:59. Any last comments, complaints, criticism, anything about the video? If you like it, comment. It's just a short. I'll be posting another one later today and also posting a video. Thank you very much, Rick. Enjoyed your conversation and your interaction. It's 10 a.m. Love, peace, and hair grease, and I'm out.